YouTube friends, I'm Heidi Villegas with Healing Harvest Homestead, and today I'm going to be sharing some special herbs that I love to use during the winter time to support my body and also my emotional state. This is my happiness tea recipe, and we're going to go through in just a moment, and I'm going to show you all the herbs that are in here, what they do, why I use them in this tea, and then I'm going to talk to you about a few substitutions you can make, as well as safety and contraindications. So that's what this video is going to be about. Please subscribe to my channel. I love hearing from you. If you have comments, leave them in the comment section, and again, please subscribe. All right, let's go ahead and start learning about happiness tea, and one of the ingredients is rose petals. I think you're going to love this tea. All right, so there are many herbs that you can use to support your emotions and support joy and happiness in your mind and in your body and in just your whole being. And today we're going to talk about a few of those herbs, and we're also going to make a special tea blend. Now, I created the formula for this tea blend around 10 years ago, probably, and it's maybe longer. And it's just a really helpful one. The thing is you do need to take it consistently, but it tastes pretty good, I think. I like herbal tastes, but you can flavor it up, and I'll tell you how to do that too, with some natural flavorings. So let's go ahead, and we're going to talk about the different herbs that are in this tea and why I chose to put them in the tea. And then I'm also going to talk with you about substitutions that you can make or omissions that you can make too, because there are a lot of herbs in this tea, and to be quite honest, you don't need all of them. So that's good news. So this is a tea that I call my tea for seasonal affective disorder, and I actually created this for myself because I suffer from this every year. Even when I lived down in Las Vegas, Nevada, which is mostly sunny all the time, I still was affected in the wintertime. So this tea has been a wonderful, helpful ally for me, and especially now that we're living in Idaho, it's a tea that I drink almost on a daily basis. So let's dig into those herbs and see why they work. So the first herb that we're going to use here is oat straw or milky oats, and these are wonderful. You can grow these if you have a little patch that you don't mind seeding with a grain, but milky oats are very nutritious. They're high in nutrition, but on top of that, they have mild, relaxing effects on your nervous system. Not major, but just they're calming and they're soothing, and they support a healthy nervous system response. So I really love to use oats in many different things. So I'm going to go ahead and use 2 parts. Now, if you're not familiar with the part system, it's a folk herbalism term for measuring out different herbal formulas. And basically what you do is you choose the amount you want in accordance with how much you want to make, and then you ratio all the herbs. So your part could be anything. Your part might be a teaspoon. Your part might be a cup. It's really very flexible and versatile and helpful, especially if you ever get into the market where you're selling herbal teas. But I generally make small amounts at a time and then use it up, and then I make some more. So we're going to do 2 parts of oat straw. And by the way, I'm using a 1/8 cup measure, which is going to give me, I'm estimating, a good pint full of herbal tea, which is really great. I think that's a good amount. All right, my next up is cinnamon. Now, cinnamon, these are cut and sifted cinnamon chips. So they're like little pieces of the cinnamon bark, and you can buy these from Star West Botanicals. I have cinnamon in here for 2 reasons. One is flavor. I love to flavor my teas up, and like I said, this is a pretty green tasting tea, and I find cinnamon really is helpful in it. But cinnamon's also high in mucilage, which is very soothing to your digestive system and just helpful for keeping the mucous membranes of your body healthy. It also is helpful for blood sugar levels too. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put in 2 parts of cinnamon. Okay. Next up on the list is hawthorn. Where's my hawthorn? Hawthorn. So these are hawthorn leaves and flowers harvested in the springtime. I love Hawthorn. I've actually done a foraging video on Hawthorn. I don't think I put it on YouTube. I think that's in one of my courses. But I forage it every year. I forage the flowers and the leaves and then the berries in the fall. And Hawthorn strongly supports your heart and including your emotional heart. So that's one of the reasons why I love having Hawthorn in this tea, because energetically it's extremely helpful to your heart. So I'm going to put in 1 part of the hawthorn leaves. Alrighty. Next up is peppermint, and we harvested these last summer too, but the reason I love peppermint in this is also for the flavor. It's cooling, it's soothing, it actually opens your sinuses, so there's a number of different reasons why. Oftentimes I'll put different herbs in teas for numerous different reasons, but I love peppermint in the summer for cooling you down, and I love peppermint in the wintertime for helping to open those sinuses. So anyway, I do like it in here. I personally think it's a great combination with your cinnamon. So it's here for flavoring, and it's here also for just supporting healthy sinus passages. Next up is dandelion leaf. Dandelion leaf is one of the most nutritious leaves, believe it or not, that you can add to an herbal tea. It's full of minerals, all kinds of minerals like calcium and potassium and magnesium, and it's just wonderful. And the thing about making an herbal tea as opposed to a tincture is that the herbal tea, because it's infused in water, will give you a much, greatly enhanced amount of mineral nutrients than a tincture will. Alcohol does not really extract minerals very well, while water does. So herbal teas are excellent for nutrition if you're using nutritious herbs, which dandelion leaf is. Now, dandelion leaf grows in a lot of places, and I've got blog posts on that on my website, and you can find other information. Maybe this spring, if you guys want, I'll do a dandelion video. But it's seriously one of the best herbs you can use. The thing is that if you're harvesting out of grassy areas or lawns, you need to be sure it's not sprayed. Okay, so just a little caveat there. You can also purchase it organic, and that's a really good idea. If you don't have dandelion leaf, a good substitute for dandelion leaf is nettle leaf. It's wonderfully nutritious as well. Chickweed is another one you could put in this tea. So as you can see, I've got quite a few nutritive type of herbs in this tea because they support your whole body as well. And personally, I think herbs all work together, and the parts of the herbs all work together. So this is actually a very, very wonderful tea for a lot of reasons. Okay, so next up, you guys, we've got Eleuthero. Eleuthero is a well-known adaptogen herb, and I really love it. Eleuthero is helpful for energy levels, for helping your body sustain balance during times of stress, whether it's physical stress, emotional stress, or other kinds of stresses. Having to focus and concentrate to study for a test or run a race or whatever it is. Eleuthero is excellent. In fact, there have been many, many studies on this herb, and it's actually a root. And I like mine cut very fine because I have discovered that if it's cut very small, it does quite well in tea. So that's why I'm adding it to this. I'm adding this as a general body support and a balancer, and one that's going to help with my energy levels during the winter time. Next up, guys, is St. John's wort. And here, I probably should have put this in first, but this is the main star of this blend. And I need to talk with you a little bit about St. John's wort for a few minutes. I'm going to put 3 parts in. I love this plant. We harvested this last summer, so it's kind of like sunshine in a jar. I love this plant, St. John's wort. I think I put a foraging video on YouTube for this one too. I know I've got it in my course materials for the Confident Herbalist Tribe, which you should consider joining if you want to learn about herbs and have some really personal interaction with me, as well as excellent research-based course materials. Anyway, St. John's wort is one of those herbs that has been clinically proven to help support depressive states in terms of improving them. And now it's not, St. John's wort does not act like an antidepressant would. It doesn't change your brain chemistry, but it supports your entire nervous system, especially your brain, and it can help you just feel a little bit happier. And I love using it in conjunction with essential oils that do the same things. It's very helpful. Now, one caveat about St. John's wort that's very important to know is that people who are on medications really need to talk with their doctor about how safe it is to take St. John's wort herb. And that's because of all of the herbs, it's one of the most highly drug interactive herbs there are. Okay, so if you are on antidepressants, if you're on any kind of heart medication, you definitely need to mention this to your doctor or do some research for yourself before you take this plant. If you're not able to take this plant, then just leave it out and maybe substitute with some more rose petals. Rose petals are excellent, or some more hawthorn leaves and berries. That's what I would do if I couldn't take St. John's wort. I'm very glad I can, though. So I love St. John's wort. Next up, guys, are the rose petals. You want to buy organic rose petals. Rose petals, if you're buying them, or you can dry your own if you don't use sprayed flowers. Rose petals are one of the most sprayed plants in the whole world. There are many, it smells so good, so good. There are many commercial enterprises just devoted to growing roses, and they're just sprayed. So I would not buy your rose petals or use rose petals from the florist. Please don't do that. Pretty much it's a 100% guarantee that they're going to be sprayed. Definitely choose to buy your roses if you're purchasing them from a bulk herb store. So that's roses. Next up is orange peel. And orange peel, is in here for nutrition, for vitamin C primarily, as well as to just add a little bit to the flavor. Now, these are the peels, okay, which is what you want to use. The thing is that orange peels aren't going to burst out of your tea with tons of flavor. So just know that. You're not going to get a super flavor. You'll just kind of get an overtone, and that's really fine with me. But I like adding it in here because of the vitamin C. Other herbs you could add instead of orange peel are rose hips. Rose hips are very wonderful additives, full of vitamin C, and pine needles. That might sound strange to you, but pine needles, pound for pound, have more vitamin C than pretty much any other plant. I think it's so funny. People go to the store and they buy their vitamin C tablets and take those every day, when you guys, your nutrition is growing all around you. And isn't that wonderful? So anyhow, there we go. Let's go ahead and talk about what to do next. So now I'm using bare hands here because this tea is for myself. My hands are clean. But if you're selling herbal teas, if you are giving herbal teas and things away to friends of yours, you definitely have a responsibility to wear gloves, I believe, and to follow good manufacturing processes. And those are kind of laid out by the FDA, so you can look into that if you're selling. If you're just giving your teas away to a friend, it's not a big deal unless they think it is. But I think it's just responsible to take good precautions. But anyway, at this point, you simply blend up your herbs. I am so happy to have another batch of this. I call this my happiness tea. Here's what it looks like. Isn't that gorgeous? It's really a beautiful tea. I think you're going to love this. And at this point, what I do is I store it in a glass bottle with a tightly fitting lid, and I put it in a dark cupboard, and it keeps, until I use it all up. Generally, dried herbs like this will keep for about a year, sometimes longer if they're stored very well. Here in Idaho, it's chilly most of the time, so I've noticed that my herbs do last a lot longer here than they did down when we lived in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I think that's just wonderful and also kind of interesting, and underscores the truth about oxidation and the enemies of your plants. The enemies of your plants are going to be light, heat, and air, oxygen. And that's why a lot of people will use oxygen absorbers. And you certainly could if you wanted to put an oxygen absorber in this. And then if you're living in a humid environment, you could also, preserve your herbal teas like you would other dried plants where you live. Okay, so this is Happiness Tea. I'm looking forward to making some new batches with this. And just if you're wondering, what I like to do when I'm using herbal teas that I make up myself, the loose leaves, is I use about 1 tablespoon per 6 to 10 ounce cup of water. And I steep those, generally speaking, it depends on the herb of course, but generally speaking, I steep for about 15 to 45 minutes. And then I go ahead and strain off the herb and I enjoy my tea. You can also use a quart jar. Often if I know that I'm going to be needing a certain tea for a day or two or more, I'll make my teas up in a quart jar, and that way I can drink a couple of cups during the day, or I can drink the whole quart during the day if I really need it. And if I have any left over, I can also drink it the next day. Herbal teas will last about 2 days in the refrigerator. All right, and also I wanted to just mention that this happiness tea is one of the featured recipes in my upcoming course. It's called the Joy Experience. And I'm really excited about putting this new course out there in the world. It's something that I think a lot of people need. I've been asked for by a lot of people to just give them help with their emotions. And this course is to help us find strategies, both herbal, aromatherapeutic, and just practical science-based strategies to improve our minds and our spirits. All right, so that's my recipe for my happiness herbal tea. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you later.